Now, the next two presenters don't need much of an introduction. You may be aware that their roles recently changed slightly, and if you're not, I'm sure they'll mention this. So Jules McConnel at the moment is the APF National Coach, where Melissa Harvie is the Sports Development Manager. And in the next session, they will present on pathways and opportunities in support of competition participation, sports development, and events. So over to you.
Cool, thank you. Thanks, Cheryl. Well, Jules and I are going to work through this together. And as Cheryl said, we've got some new roles to share tonight. So some of you might not know that. It's just got announced in e-news today. So we're gonna explain how that happened and what that means for you. Now I'm going to share my screen in a minute, but I just want to do a bit of an introduction first to say what we're going to talk about tonight. But I'm sure most of you know that I'm pretty excited because, like some of you here, I'm regional. So basically I live in Port Macquarie and I haven't been able to skydive for a few months. So I'm really excited to be able to travel down south on Monday. So yay, I'm going to see some of you at Picton probably next weekend. And yeah, I know everybody's getting back into skydiving, but for me, it's been beautiful up here, but yeah, I haven't been able to jump. And we're here tonight, Jules and I, to share how we're going to move forward together as a team now. And also as a broader team for sport, which of course all of you are members of, and talk about the opportunities that we're looking to create for you. You may know, of course, that this year Jules and I have worked well as a team, but we actually see everybody as part of the team. And even though you'll often hear APF this, APF that, every one of us is actually here tonight, and everybody who's a member is actually one team actually making the sport happen. So we're going to share how we'd like to go about helping everybody achieve the best in sport. So just as a bit of a prompting note, right? This isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. So if it isn't working for you, could you get in touch? If something is working and we could do more of it, could you tell us? If there's something you want us to do or to influence, then please let us know. And also if there's something that you want to do, I apologize, and you want to influence, then please get involved. So there's opportunities galore. We do appreciate that for many people, just turning up and having fun and not worrying about what goes into making skydiving possible is where you're coming from. And that's absolutely fine because we are here for everyone and we want to keep making it possible for everyone. Having said that, skydiving is a huge investment. It's a huge investment in time, it's a huge investment in energy and money. So for Jules and I and the team, we want to make sure that we support everyone's goals and help you get the most out of it, whether it's being sociable, developing new skills, being competitive, or working in the industry. So that all comes under the banner of sport. So I'm just going to get our presentation up on the screen. And unfortunately, the host has disabled screen sharing. So perhaps the host could sort that for me and I will be able to share. Thanks. Thank you. There we go. Cool. And I'll just pop it onto slideshow. There we are. Excellent. Okay, so that was our banner slide, a little bit of an introduction. And then I'm going to hand over to Jules.
Thanks, Melissa. So the initiative that we've been talking about, we've branded this Spotlight on Sport, and we think it's pretty motivating. Do you want to move to the next slide? Sure. So we've just got a nice logo done by the amazing Sonia Gelman. It hasn't gone through, Melissa. It hasn't moved.
No worries. Let's just go back.
Maybe full screen it.
Yep, that's what I tried to do. Let's have a look. Oh, a technical glitch. How exciting.
Who would have thought?
Have you got the have you got that?
We've still got your first slide.
Okay. Let's see. or unblack. Any luck with that one?
Nope.
Wait. That is extremely odd. Okay.
There you go.
Oh, I've just stopped sharing because I didn't want to annoy everybody with my technical traumas. Let's have a try again. How about that?
Perfect. If you can make it the fit to window or something, or
Yeah, I'm just
I'm
gonna,
not sure. Or
that should be the slideshow.
That's all right. So this is our new sort of branding of the initiative that we've named Spotlight on Sport. We think it's pretty motivating. What do you guys think? Like I said, Sonia has created this for us with her technical expertise in making things look amazing. And if you read the tagline, it says engaging sports skydivers to thrive in the pathway of their choice, sport, competition and industry. So we think this covers how all members participate in the sport. And we've got some exciting things to share to tonight. So are you ready? Is everybody ready? Can you move on to the next slide? Oh, thanks for the, some people love it, think it's excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, Sonia.
5 out of 5. Thanks, Sonia. Next slide.
Did that come up?
Nope, not yet. Everything's a bit slow tonight, isn't it? Thanks, Gail. It is pretty snazzy, isn't it?
Right, I'm not sure why.
Maybe if you can just click on it, I don't know.
Try pressing fit to window next to notes there on top.
Next to notes there on top.
You've got notes, zoom, then fit to window.
No, not on my screen. Fit to window.
Can you just press down? What did you do, Luke? Is Luke here? Luke Rogers? Not with the audio, but just with changing.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If I stop sharing and just bring that slide back, escape.
Where's Gyro's room?
That's fairly tragic, really. I'm just wondering if I share the slideshow, can that work? Can you see that?
Yep, you've got the, yep, that's the second screen. Have you got the next one?
I know I've got the.
And now you press fit to window on top.
I'm sorry, I don't have a feature window.
Fit to window. Fit to.
No, I don't have a fit to window either.
Are you running two screens, Melissa?
Not intentionally. Can you see?
There we go. Great. That's working. Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. So this is where we've come from. Sport and member development is a major APF priority, along with safety and training. And there's heaps of great stuff going on, but not necessarily focused. And the APF team weren't really set up for success to support the sport effectively. Sport needed a focus, and there's opportunity to bring some life to how APF supports sport. So before job sharing with Melissa, I had heaps of hats to wear as the sport development manager, and many balls would get dropped for major events like the Nationals. Not to say that that's a bad thing. This year, it was totally worth it. We had an amazing virtual Nationals, and it was a great success with the most participants we've had in over 20 years. But business as usual stopped to make this happen. So sharing the workload with Melissa has been really great, and we work really well as a team. But we're there's still heaps to be done between the two of us. Also, the strategic plan has lots of detail, but it isn't clear on how and what we need to do to bring it to life. So as we're working out how to go forward, we used the survey, and that added some really useful context. Put a thumbs up here for anyone who participated in the survey. We thank you very much. It's really helped us to inform creating this. Yep, a few thumbs up there. Thanks very much. So we'll move on to the next slide.
Let's give that a go. Somebody has kindly shown me where the fit to window is in my screen. I don't know how you did that, but it doesn't work. So never mind. If you can see the slide, then that's all good. This is the survey sort of synopsis. And as Jules said, thank you for those of you who did participate, because those responses really helped us to understand what people were looking for and what was going well, and what was needed. So look, what we did was, if you check out the slide, the pie chart sort of breaks down the survey by broad themes. We created themes based on all the responses that we had and allocated them. And you can see that 43% actually fitted into culture as a very broad theme. And a big feature of culture as a subdivision was about communication. Maybe no surprises there, but members were asking for more consistent visibility of activities, more information around pathways in the sport, updates on the community. I know we do a lot already, but they were looking for more, and basically more proactive information sharing rather than just reactive or event-based information sharing. So as part of this process, as the next step, using that information, we actually started a review process, and we got some people involved to help us talk about what we needed to do to refresh sport and the way we looked after it. So let me just flick to the next slide. Hopefully you can see that. We did a little bit of consultation, and you can picture the scene. It's now July. Okay, so Nationals has come and gone. It was an amazing event, and many states were in lockdown. So we took some time out to actually check what was going on and what we needed to do to get out of reactive mode. And we brought some intelligence into the discussion. And hopefully you'll agree with me that there's quite a bit of intelligence there if you look at the stakeholders we talked to, and an advisory group that Richard helped us bring together to actually bring some guidance and support into the process. So there's some pretty interesting names there. And if you know your way around everybody that supports sport, there's quite a lot of capability and expertise in those stakeholders that we worked with. And we're incredibly grateful to everybody who put the effort in to actually help us talk about sport and what matters at the moment. So we wanted to work out how we could deliver the strategic goals. I don't know if anybody's read the APF strategy recently, but you know, these things tend to become dusty documents that sit in filing cabinets, and we wanted to bring it to life. So we were looking for these people to actually help us. And through that process, we came up with 3 priorities. So let's have a look at what they were. Maybe no surprises, but let's use it as a mantra. So if you ever see me on a drop zone and I'm sort of chanting capability pathways competition, then that's what it's all about for us now. We're addressing these as the delivery focus, if you like, for our strategic plans, how we're going to deliver our strategy. For us, for area councils, for everyone involved in supporting sport, everything we do really has a focus on supporting these 3 things. And Jules is going to talk a little bit now about how we're actually going to bring those to life. So let me quickly shuffle on to the next slide. Jules.
Cool, thanks, Melissa. So capability, what does that mean? It means, like, how does the APF support the sport? We think it's all about teamwork. Like Melissa said from the beginning, it's not just us as a sport development team in the office or out in the field, but it's everyone, it's every member. We want to build an active capability to support the sport, delivered through the community of resources that we have, you know, through area councils, and just through people at the drop zone, connecting and sharing goals and best practice. What about pathways? So we want to establish clear pathways to experience and influence the sport. That came up a lot in the survey, and even through discussions in the stakeholder groups that we spoke to. A lot of people getting into the sport just saying, what's next? So we want to make it clear how you can participate in all pathways, at all levels, in all disciplines and roles. Coaching, mentoring, instructing, competing, judging, the list goes on. In all areas, local, state, and national. And then there's competition. So supporting pathways to progress on a competitive journey. Yes, we need to fund our APT, the athletes at the elite level, our Australian parachute team, but we've got something new. We also want to support our potential future champions, and we'll be talking about that in the next slide or throughout. Next slide, Melissa.
Yes.
So here's our new APF core sport team. Speaking of new, it's new and refreshed. As Charles introduced us, I'm now the national coach. I'm going to be working part-time, 2.5 days, and not only supporting the Australian parachute team, but also upcoming athletes in the Future Champions program. Also helping promote competition activities, establishing performance coaching as a service. I really want to focus on coaching as a service. And this is new too. We want to build our coaching capability to support everyone to achieve your goals, not just competitors, but all jumpers. Melissa Harvie is our sport development manager. She's going to be part-time as well, working 2.5 days a week, with a focus on supporting area councils, drop zones, and independent organisers to promote all activities at all levels and learning pathways across all disciplines and interests. Melissa's expertise is going to help glue the team together. And as I mentioned earlier before, everything sort of stops for the nationals. And so we have Sarah Gordon joining us as the National Event Coordinator. Some of you may know Sarah from the 2019 Nationals. She helped coordinate at Maria, or you might know her if you jump at Maria at the drop zone. She's going to be working part-time to deliver the Nationals for all disciplines. And then we've got the awesome Sonia Gelman. She is going to continue as our social media manager and digital marketer. So Sonia does all of our APF communications, including promotional programs for Learn to Skydive and Tandem Skydiving, all our social media updates and e-news. It's so great to have a skydiver doing this for us, who's so in tune with our community and is so passionate about our sport. So if Sonia and Sarah are there, I'd like you to unmute yourselves and say hello.
Hello.
Hi, SG.
Hi. I just wanted to say how, well, as you can imagine, incredibly pleased I am to be a part of this team. Very talented group of women to work with, but also, I hope I can work with everyone involved to deliver 2 awesome national events for all of you guys out there. So thanks for joining me and the team.
Awesome. So that's the team. We're open for any suggestions and here to support you. And as Melissa said before, if you got an idea, come to us. If we're not doing something that you want, then let us know. Get amongst it. Let's work together.
So I've taken the liberty of popping the next slide up because it's fair to say that there are actually many more people involved in running our sport than just the 4 of us. And we've tried to capture all those groups and all those people in the slide that's up on your screen just now. So all those little boxes. So I know the writing's a bit small, but hopefully you can see it. And each person, each individual within those boxes, basically they work to keep our sport running. They might have very particular interests and goals, right? They might support a particular discipline or a particular brand, But basically together, everyone comes to the party to actually help keep the sport running. So how do you get what you need? And is there another grouping that I should add? Like we kind of brainstormed this to make sure we captured everybody. I mean, obviously the mentees, the judges, the athletes, the members, all the volunteers that work in committees, all the volunteers that actually support things on each drop zone, along with all the drop zone organizers, the drop zone businesses, the awards committee, the area councils, all the roles within there. There's a huge number. We've also got our sport and competition committees that include the area coaches, and also the discipline leads. So Luke Rogers is a discipline lead for wingsuiting. So we have a lot of people supporting us in the sport. But if we've missed someone or some group, please let us know, because we want to involve them in the approach that we're taking. It's a huge
Sorry,
group.
Brandon. Oh, sorry, Melissa, while you were talking, Brandon just said the safety and training team. Whoops-a-daisy. Sorry, guys.
Safety and training team, yeah, you kind of have your own little world with Shao, but you're absolutely right. We should see ourselves as one big team. And that's a really good call out. So there you go. I accuse other people of being narrow-minded, but look at me. Sorry. So like our sort of review process put detail into all the areas around capability, pathways, and competition. So we'll have a little look about what we've got planned. And the point of this slide is to say, look, we recognize everybody's part of making these things happen. So we're going to work together. So on the next slide, we've got a few call outs around those three areas. Has that come up, Jules?
Yes. Oh, no. No, oh, yes. Sorry, it has.
Awesome. Okay. Well, look, capability. We've talked about capability a little bit in terms of our new team roles, but we're also keen to facilitate greater collaboration with the area councils. Very, very big influence in how we support sport. And each one is doing amazing things, like some great things. There's still an opportunity to share ideas and lessons learned and do things better together. So that's one stakeholder group that we're definitely going to be supporting. There is more that we can actually do to identify shared areas of common ground. Some people here might remember that we maybe treat coaches slightly differently in the council areas. So we might want to look at consistency around how we approach working with other coaches and maintaining current events and visibility of those on calendars. Sometimes that's not fully up to date, and it would be really helpful for everybody to be able to see that. You may know as well that we're promoting a pilot grant writing service. So where there's money to be had, we want to get access to it. And there's a lot of great grants out there. It's going to take teamwork. We thought we'd be flush with opportunities, and then discovered that in actual fact, they're quite targeted and specific. So we need to work really closely with the stakeholders like drop zones, like clubs, and area councils to make sure that we can make the most of that. But we are supporting that grant writing service. From a pathway point of view, okay, we've got some big things going on there. Mentoring. I am calling for volunteers. Who is interested in coming into a think tank with me to actually define the next evolution for a fully inclusive program? If you're interested, ping me. It's something that Sammy's been working with me on, trying to get this idea into shape. She's done an amazing job over the last couple of years focusing on women in the sport. And now we actually want to try and bring a more inclusive program into bear, and maybe making something a little bit more active in terms of more immediate support rather than a large program, but offering something there too. So please, volunteers required, looking for your intelligence and support there. Performance coaching. Jules has mentioned that already, I think. Very important. We're not going to get anywhere as a sport without our coaches. And at the moment, we have some great accreditation within the APF. And we also have people that we're kind of calling performance coaches, people who maybe fall outside that area of accreditation, who might actually be focusing on taking people further forward into their competitive space. And we want to create some coaching level guidelines for that and promote the current availability and capability in our country. Sporting clubs are there too for pathways. Jules has done some amazing sort of groundbreaking work at Maruya to actually bring a new skydivers club to life. And there are some big benefits in that. funding benefits, for example, access to grants, but also supporting the work that the DZ operators are focused on and helping the people who are in the sport actually get the most out of it and participate in the things that are available to them. So there's a big opportunity there. I know Tagulu, I do this really well at the moment. We're just looking to expand that where there's an option to do that. And discipline goals. Who's heard about discipline goals? Basically every discipline, and there are lots of them, there are some goals that whole membership group might want to achieve over the course of the year. And if we can better understand those through your discipline lead in the sport and competition committee, then we can actually put those into work with area councils, with the funding plans that we make in supporting everybody's goals to try and sort of have a balance of support over the year. Rather than just reacting to things that are asked for, we can actually have a bit more of a plan. So there's a lot of work we can actually do in that space. And last but not least, exciting competition, love it. Nationals 2022, Sarah's totally focused. We got some dates out there, Nagambie for Freefall Nationals and Picton for Canopy Nationals. We got our fingers crossed that we'll all be together for those events. And we're starting to plan those now. I know, big fingers crossed. So get involved, right? Get involved with those. And the Future Champions program that Jules is mentioning is long awaited. We may not have many funds to spend, but if we put our attention to it and our intelligence to it, then we can start to support the up and coming champions, the people who are going to be our Australian parachute team of the future and help people really explore sport at that level of participation. So it's pretty exciting. I know I've thrown a lot at you, and Jules is going to try and put that into context for what that means for you now, so that then we can start working on a more individual basis for you. So let me have a quick flick to the last slide, and Jules is going to talk about you.
Awesome, thanks, Melissa. Yeah, so exactly right. There's so many opportunities out there. So if you're an athlete or a judge, you can volunteer or participate in the upcoming events. And as Melissa just said, Nationals 2022, we're really hoping that borders open so we can have it face to face. The dates for Nagambie are March 27th to April 3rd. We are going to be looking at a virtual component in case borders don't open. The Sport and Competition Committee are going to be meeting next Monday, and we'll be announcing that shortly after via e-news. That's why you haven't sort of seen a lot about the Nationals yet, because the borders aren't quite all open. And then the CP and Classic Accuracy Landing, Classic Accuracy. You guys, I know we haven't had a Nationals since 2019, so we're really stoked that we announced those dates just today, I think, which is the 8th to 13th at Picton, and triple fingers crossed that that can happen. We're so excited. And this is an on-year, so what that means is that it's the selection for the Australian parachute team to go and represent the country at the World Meet. Now, the World Meet for most events is in Arizona in October, and the Classic Accuracy is in the Czech Republic in July. So what month? Sorry, Ramblers is asking of what month? Arizona in October? Or did you mean the Nationals? Nationals, March, end of March, beginning of April in Nagambie, and then the 8th to 13th of March for canopy piloting. So if you've never competed before, give it a go. It's anyone can be involved, anyone can participate. And if you've never judged before and you're interested, then there's judge training at the Nationals. So get involved there. Just ask. You could flick an email to me or to the National Judging Officer, which is currently Gail Bradley, but she has stood down, and we'll be announcing soon her successor. If you're a coach, whether you're a coach just starting out, please and want some assistance or some guidance, ask us or ask your CI for sure. But if you're a performance coach, then please get in contact with us. Probably the easiest thing is to get in contact with either myself or your discipline lead. And we're going to compile a national register, which will go on our new website, which we're really excited about. If you're an instructor, you're part of the team, and we say, don't just teach the skill, but remember to include what's next, to inspire the up and comers in all these different things that we have available. There is a really great reference. It's the A License magazine that Sonia Gelman and myself compiled a wee while ago. It's available on our website, and if you can't find it, then let us know and we can send you a copy. And who's next on our list? A mentor. If you're a mentor, Melissa just mentioned, we're having a bit of a reshape with WIAS to make it more inclusive. That's been, again, from the survey, there were a lot of responses about that and just in general conversation. So we're trying to answer that for the members. And Melissa needs a think tank. So please, if you want to be involved in helping reshape a more inclusive mentor program, then get in contact with Melissa. If you're an event coordinator, Melissa mentioned the discipline goals. So again, get in touch with your discipline lead, find out what those goals are and see if you can organise an event that could maybe, steer towards that goal. It's going to help us shape, funding and planning for funding for next year as well. But if you've never run an event or interested in learning how to, get in touch with your area coach or us. But the area coach is sort of the person to start, and they can help you. Or even if you have been running events but unsure and need some assistance, then that's what we're here for. Area council committee member. If you want to get involved on your area council, we're actually seeking expressions of interest right now. No, the area councils do in their, just before their AGMs, but we're also the head office, the APF office, asking for volunteers on operational committees. So if you're interested, then there are in any of the positions, contact Jenny Larkin at the office. And if you have any questions, she'll help you answer any questions about that. And for DZs, as Melissa mentioned, I did a trial at Maruya while we were locked down, setting up a non-for-profit, the Maruya Skydivers Club, basically to support the drop zone. The drop zones are all flat out, running in tandem, and we thought, what best way for the sport jumpers to be looked after is by them getting involved and running a club for themselves. Like Melissa said, it's been working for years at Toogoolawah, a great success there. So we did ask Dave for some advice. Thank you very much, Dave. And lots of lessons were learnt in setting up the club. So if you want to do that for your drop zone, please get in contact with me so you can learn from those lessons. I can help you learn from those lessons to streamline the process. And yeah, it's a great way to build the community that we want on the drop zone, and also, like Melissa mentioned, access to more funding available. There's lots of non-for-profit grants out there that small business drop zones cannot necessarily access, but non-for-profit clubs can. So that's just something to think about that can help support the sport. That's it from me.
We've got some great points actually that maybe I could pick up on.
Let's do that.
Yeah, I okay, hands up. That's fantastic. Like, everybody's mentioned lots of other people who are actually involved in supporting sport. So we can change that slide. Safety teams, absolutely, not just the national ones, but everybody on a drop zone. Gail mentioned the ISC delegates who actually bring that big picture and manage the rules for us. So fantastic, of course. Packers, yes, as a community of packers. TC mentioned the APF board. Thank you, APF board. Yes, definitely they are in support of sport. And did I have any others? No, I had some points. Crash had suggested, not sure if people know that there's actually a fantastic e-magazine that goes out to skydivers when they get their A license. We've communicated its existence a number of times, but Crash has suggested that we actually send that again in a new email or a new comms, or maybe as part of one of RIA's updates to all the instructors, so that it's another reminder that it exists, and it's a way of sharing some great information about pathways and what's available in the sport to people who just got their A license. So it actually starts a lot of great conversations on the drop zone. So we should do that. And also I've had a question, I think, was it from Laurence Garçon or was it from another Laurence? There's one Laurence out there, and I'm not sure who it is. You asked a question about getting access to the Institute of Sport. Can somebody just flag their hand if that was them? Who was that? Do we know? Okay, well, I'm going to answer it anyway. It's a really good question, and it's one I've been trying to understand, because I know that the National Sporting Organization has access to some fantastic grants and opportunities through AIS and other sporting organizations. ASAC is actually our National Sporting Organization. We as a sport are affiliated through ASAC. Who remembers what that stands for? TC, anybody? Nobody? Okay, I should know, Australian something of something. Aviation Consortium, is that something like that? Jules, do you remember?
Air Sport Australia Confederation.
Okay, something like that.
Yeah,
Paragliding, lots of other sports are actually part of that, and so are we. And ASAC were actually, or it was adjusted so that ASAC was the National Sporting Organization at a time when we were all hoping to sort of push ourselves forward as an Olympic sport. So what that's meant, unfortunately, is that the Australian Parachute Federation does not actually qualify as a national sporting organization in its own right. It actually goes through ASAC. And Richard McCree was good enough to put me in touch with Graham Hill, who's the president of ASAC, and he's actually started to have a look at this challenge for us, because it means that for our members, we're actually not able to access quite a lot of grant activity and things that are available through AIS if we were the National Sporting Organization. So I'm trying to find out a bit more about that, and we can let people know once we have a bit more of a pathway on that. So those are the things that came up in the chat. Luke Oliver said he didn't have a discipline. I'm sure he does, he has many. And the other thing that I'd like to observe is that everything that people can get involved in our sport is actually a great pathway to a career in sports. Bigger picture, administration, management, executive management, executive boards, event organizing. These things are actually jobs, and they exist big picture in multiple sports around Australia and the world. So if you want to dip your toe in the water, this is a great place to do it, because it's a small community and we can help each other, and then you can get really great transferable skills. So it's another good reason to actually get involved in supporting Australian Parachute Federation. So that was my point. Let's just have a look. We've got some new chat things. How are we doing time-wise? 7:39. Trevor Collins. Air Sport Australia Confederation. Go for it, Gail. And we've got some links. Thank you, James. We can if we want to become one. Okay, I'll let Graham Hill help us navigate that, and I'll let everybody know. Shane Sparks, don't forget the people who document, film, present, and showcase our sport, the picture people, vision people, thank you. Of course, what a great group you are. And isn't it interesting how people see themselves as these communities, and we can support those communities. Aviation, yep. Thanks, Shirley. And I think we've got like 2 minutes for questions, if anybody's got anything else they want to raise. No, Jules, I think we are done.
Awesome. Yay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And yeah, come with us on the journey. We want to do it together.